It is time to talk about LEGO, because why not? Usually I do movie or TV reviews on this channel, but since I've been doing some more toy reviews lately, I figured this would be a good opportunity for me to talk about some LEGO themes that I think deserve a second chance. First off, just to make things clear, I am not a LEGO expert and I won't pretend to be. I was really into LEGO Magazine as a kid and I loved seeing all of the new sets, but the vast majority of sets I purchased were Bionicle. And yes, because of that, I do tend to have a bias towards LEGO Technic, but there were still a lot of really cool LEGO sets that I either always wanted or learned I wanted in later years. And that's why today I am counting down 10 discontinued LEGO themes that I think are worthy of a comeback. I'm going to try to stick to original IPs for this list. There's a lot of great sets based on movies or TV shows, but they were either discontinued due to no longer being relevant or some licensing issue. So with that said, let's begin.
New from LEGO Atlantis, divers found the key to the gateway of the squid. Watch out, the giant squid's awake, and it has razor-sharp teeth.
LEGO Atlantis. And no, this has nothing to do with the Disney movie. No, this was a LEGO theme that ran shortly from 2010 to 2011. The theme featured deep-sea divers who would face off with evil sea creatures in their search for the lost city of Atlantis. It was a pretty basic concept, and the goal of finding Atlantis was actually achieved despite its short run, but these were still some really cool and creative sets. I really loved the red and green color scheme used on the sea divers' vehicles. Considering just how limited the idea was, it makes sense that it didn't last long, but I would still love to see Atlantis sets make a return if possible, maybe with some new aquatic foes or interesting vehicles. Either way, it would just be really cool to see the return of aquatic themed LEGO sets, besides the ones made for LEGO City.
LEGO Exoforce. A new powerful army of evil robots are attacking the Golden City. The three-legged shadow crawler fires his destroyer discs. The Exoforce team is ready to defend, but enemies are everywhere.
Exoforce was one of LEGO's more interesting experiments. The line is all about mechs and follows a group of pilots who face off against an army of evil robots on Sentai Mountain, a divided mountain connected together by various bridges. If you were curious about the plot, you could always watch the story trailer for Exoforce that was made to set the mood for the theme. Only downside is you'll be looking at these CG monstrosities. Exoforce resulted in some very cool mechs, but some pretty questionable LEGO minifigs. The robots were cool, but the people were The series clearly took inspiration from anime and manga. I mean, it was 2006, so it's not all that surprising. All of the characters here have Japanese names, and the lore is a bit deeper than most LEGO themes. You can tell LEGO was trying to recapture the success of something like Bionicle with this. Exoforce would come to an end in 2008, and its story was never finished, but I would love to see it return one day. Not so much because of the story or characters, I honestly have little memory of what happens in it, but because I'm just someone who loves robots, and I think recent LEGO builds have proven that something like Exoforce could be easily expanded upon and result in a really awesome new wave of sets. I have high doubts we'll ever see Exoforce again, but I can dream, can't I?
Are ready to capture Lord Vladek at his dark fortress. The king attacks with powerful battle machines, but Vladek is prepared. Shoot at the gate! Attack!
Knight's Kingdom, or more specifically Knight's Kingdom 2, is a line that I have fond memories of. It was actually a sub-theme of LEGO Castle that first began in 2000, but was later brought back in 2004 under the same name, but with an entirely different execution. You'll notice a lot of 2000s LEGO sets were trying to bank off of Bionicle's early success, and Knight's Kingdom was no exception. The theme followed the quest of 5 colorful knights, each with their own special abilities, who fought against the evil Lord Vladek to save the kingdom of Morcia. As if the playsets weren't already cool enough, a line of buildable action figures released later in the line. I really love it when LEGO goes into action figure territory, so these were right up my alley. The line would run until its end in 2006. I'd love to see LEGO bring back Knight's Kingdom, specifically for the action figures. If they were to bring it back, I could see them creating a new set of knights and maybe expanding upon the previous story. That or just rebooting it altogether. Either way, I would love to see these knights return to store shelves.
hive crawler is spawning an army of space bugs.
They're everywhere!
Now you can build the powerful galactic titan, drive into battle, and take on the evil hive crawler.
If you ever wanted to see Starship Troopers in LEGO form, then LEGO Galaxy Squad was exactly that.
I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part too.
It's a super simple concept, but the execution of this line was top-notch in my opinion, with lots of impressive space vehicles and giant buildable insectoid vehicles belonging to the aliens. This theme only ran for about a year in 2013, and it wasn't officially cancelled until like 2 years later in 2015. For such an awesome series of sets, it's a surprise these didn't sell too well. Considering its short run, it's doubtful LEGO will ever attempt to bring it back, but it was a fun idea and something I would not mind seeing return.
Robo Riders. Quick to build, action-packed functions, and great shooting. They come in cans with secret codes to games on the internet.
Robo Riders was LEGO's attempt to use Technic parts to create futuristic, motorcycle-esque vehicles that were also characters in the year of 1999. This acted as a successor to Slizers, or Throwbots in the US, but only lasted until 2001 when it was replaced with Bionicle. It is such an oddly specific theme from LEGO's past, and you may be wondering why I even have any interest in it, when far better Technic themes were created afterward. But when I look at Robo Riders, I see loads of unused potential. Today I'm always seeing Technic sets in stores modeled after real-life cars and vehicles, and I can't help but wonder why LEGO doesn't have their own theme of futuristic cars and planes and such. It's not that the new Technic sets aren't cool, it's just that I love creative toys and I would be far more into fun and colorful vehicles unlike anything we have on Earth. Robo Riders was also cool in the sense that you could combine them to create mega vehicles, and just the idea of being able to do that with the LEGO Technic pieces we have today gets me excited. So as a fan of both LEGO Technic and creative original themes, I think Robo Riders needs to be brought back in some way or form. There's just so much you could do with it, and I hope someone somewhere at LEGO will realize that and make an attempt to revive it.
Breaking news from LEGO Alien Conquest.
Aliens are invading Earth!
To stop the alien attack, call in the Alien Defense Unit.
Alien Conquest was the theme that ran prior to Galaxy Squad, and if you were to ask me, I think it's some of the coolest alien-themed sets that LEGO ever did. In these sets, the good guys were blue, and the bad guys were, well, green. I really love the look of the aliens, all with unique heads and a color scheme that really appeals to me. Alien Conquest also actually tied into other LEGO themes, such as Atlantis and Pharaoh's Quest, at least according to a comic in LEGO magazine. Sure, the Earth-based vehicles released were cool, but the main appeal were the many alien ships released that often displayed a clear dome on top and resembled that of a traditional alien spaceship. It released in 2011 and only lasted 1 year, although I'm not really sure if it was due to poor sales or LEGO just didn't really have any big plans for it after that year. I'm not exactly sure what LEGO would do to expand upon this line. Maybe send the ADU, which were like the good guys in the series, to do some battle with the aliens in space. Who knows? All I know is if LEGO brought it back, I would be sure to pick up some of these sets.
Hey, what's that? It's a crystal of some sort. Rock monsters! They eat crystals. For power? At my Nectar base, we need some backup down here.
At number 4 is a classic and a theme that I think a lot of LEGO fans are nostalgic for. Power Miners is almost a spiritual successor to the old Rock Raiders theme. It follows a group of miners tunneling deep into the earth while battling rock monsters that grow more powerful with each crystal they devour. The orange and green color scheme was super appealing, and despite all the vehicles and sets relating to tunneling, LEGO got super creative with it and really pushed the idea. Best of all were those clear plastic crystals that looked like candy. No wonder the rock monsters wanted to eat them. Speaking of which, you could make the argument that the rock monsters were trying to bank off of that Rabbids craze, much like Despicable Me would with the Minions later on, but I love these dudes. They were pretty iconic LEGO characters for a bit, and I think they have that nostalgic value that LEGO should look for in a potential revival. The theme ran from 2009 to 2010, but managed to make quite the impact in its short run. At least with me it did. I'm not really sure what more one could do with the simple concept, but the theme was all about pushing creativity. Another comeback, no matter how short, would be much appreciated.
New LEGO Monster Fighters. The evil Lord Vampire has awakened his army of monsters. But now you can join the Monster Fighters, build their awesome attack vehicles, and take on the horde of monsters.
LEGO Monster Fighters is basically that. A group of LEGO heroes led by Dr. Rodney Rathbone taking a stand against a bunch of monsters, including vampires, zombies, ghosts, mummies, werewolves, and skeletons, if you consider that a monster.
This is a skeleton! This is bones!
Like many of these LEGO themes, it revolved around a powerful set of objects, these ones known as the Moonstones, that when brought together would turn day into night forever, allowing monsters to roam freely, because that's just basic monster behavior. This is one of those LEGO themes that really appeals to myself, as I love horror movies, and having haunted LEGO sets revolving around classic monsters and all things spooky is just really neat to me. It's also an idea with a lot of room to expand upon. You could use some elements from classic horror films as inspiration, resulting in a variety of cool monster-themed sets. Recently, LEGO released those Hidden Side sets, which I think are pretty cool, but it seems more than likely LEGO will be discontinuing them as of 2021, so it may be a while before we see any spookier LEGO sets again. But like I said, if LEGO ever wanted to bring back Monster Fighters, I'd be totally down for it. Can never have enough spooky LEGO sets.
Behold, Toa Modica. Reshaped with new body armor, each Toa must control a new elemental tool and master the Ratsuka spinner.
As anyone who has watched some of my previous videos should know by now, I am a huge Bionicle fan, and if it were up to me, I would put that at number 1. Well, it is up to me, but I'm not going to do that for the sake of people who just don't care. And another big reason of why I'm not going to do that is because Bionicle already had a short-lived comeback in 2015. And while I would love to see it return once again someday, it's also important to remember that LEGO has a few other Technic robot sets that also deserve a second chance. Whether it be Throwbots, the original Bionicle precursor, or Hero Factory, an awesome series of sets similar to Bionicle, but following an easier to follow, more kid-friendly storyline. I think LEGO's biggest mistake when it comes to these Technic robot figures is they tend to assume Bionicle is all anyone wants, which is a big part of why they don't do them anymore. Except for the occasional Technic Star Wars figure or those weird Ben 10 figures they used to do. Personally, I believe rather than bringing back Bionicle in 2015, LEGO should have created a new original robot theme like they did with Hero Factory. Even if the story ended up being not as intriguing as Bionicle, I would still love to buy more Technic robot figures in the future. Whether or not that happens, we'll just have to wait and see, but until then, the best I can do is hope and cry until these types of figures, Bionicle or not, return in some way. Now before I get to number 1, I'd like to give an honorable mention shout out to both LEGO Pirates and LEGO Castle. Both are pretty basic ideas that made for some really cool LEGO sets. Really, the only reason I left them out was because I wanted to focus on more specific LEGO themes. Still, I wouldn't mind seeing these return someday.
Take yourself on a daring LEGO adventure. The pyramids of Egypt, the magic ruby, evil villains everywhere, mystery, surprise, excitement, suspense, and danger.
At number 1 is the obvious choice for many LEGO fans, and that is LEGO Adventurers. If LEGO City is all about assembling modern vehicles and buildings in the LEGO universe, Adventurers was all about going on adventures in the LEGO universe. For anyone unfamiliar with this theme, it was basically the original LEGO Indiana Jones, only even better because it was an original property. The line followed the adventures of Johnny Thunder and his friends as they attempt to find the various treasures hidden throughout the world before the evil Sam Sinister can get his claw on them. Together they would travel the world through various sets and sub-themes. Those sub-themes included Egypt, jungle, Dino Island, which is exactly what you think it is, and Orient Expedition, the one I remember most. I remember reading comics of their adventures in LEGO Magazine and really wanting the sets that I sadly never got. The theme would run from 1998 till 2003. Eventually, LEGO would start making Indiana Jones sets, so there wasn't really any reason to bring it back during that time. The closest thing to a revival we got was Pharaoh's Quest in 2011, which was quite similar to the original Egypt sub-theme. Johnny Thunder also had his figure re-released in the LEGO movie set, so he's not completely forgotten by them. I was hoping that we'd see adventurers make a comeback within the next few years, but with the 5th Indiana Jones movie set to release in 2022, I find it more likely LEGO will just do more Indiana Jones sets instead. So that is all for my video. If you love toys, movies, or TV shows, then feel free to check out the many other videos on my channel. Also, be sure to like or subscribe if you enjoyed the video. We need to make this channel grow, and any support is really appreciated. Thank you all for watching, and goodbye. Bionicle is never coming back, is it?
Cool modèle de course Lego Technique.